Hello guys, this is Jerry speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM React episode number 592. And today we react to Purple Roads podcast episode 59. Kelly Veruman, how you pronounce her last name, from Sunny Side Up Show. And we'll react to this beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm Carrie Stinson, and my journey through life has been quite an adventure. For over 20 years, I played Barney the Dinosaur on tour and 7 seasons of the hugely popular TV show Barney and Friends. Now my journey is to bring together friends and guests from all over the entertainment world for inspiring and at times amusing behind-the-scenes conversation. I'm Carrie Stinson, and this is Purple Roads.
Okay.
Welcome to Purple Roads. My name is Carrie Stinson, and I am so happy you're here. This is so much fun this week. We're going back to my days with Sprout and my good friend Kelly Vroman. How are you, Kelly?
I'm so good, Carrie. I have so many good memories of working with you.
Wow.
We had so much fun, and I do too. I remember the studio, but we want to talk about too. I remember going out and we did events together.
Yeah, the first event that I think we did was in Times Square, and it was like a walkathon or a step counting thing that was part of Get Moving, Michelle Obama's thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't there, but you and I just remember first of all I was starstruck because it was my first time. Sunny Side Up was so new, and it was my first time working with a major celebrity. And they were like, okay, so basically what's going to happen is you're going to change in this closet, and then you're going to come out here, and you're just going to run around with Barney up and down these steps for a while. Barney will probably just stay over here because, as you know, he's a big costume, and he'll probably just stay right here. But you run all around and just get the kids exercising. I was like, okay, I got it. Well, if freaking Barney didn't show me up and move more than I did and ran all around, I mean, you were just stay in one spot. No. I shall.
Wait, what was that? Hold on. One moment. Hold on. Turn it up.
Stay in one spot. No. I shall run up these stairs as well.
Okay.
No, that's not something I did. I know the kids expect me to go run around, and I'll tell you, it's so funny you bring that up because I was blown away by the fact that we were literally in the middle of Times Square.
Yeah, they blocked it out, built this just a set of ramps, kind of running up and down.
Wow.
Yes, and I have pictures of by the way, and we will throw those out there because
yay!
Remember that so well.
I know. And then, of course, the opposite of being in Times Square was being in our tiny little studio, which whenever Barney was coming, it was a matter of we would need to move everything out, and it was only you would fit in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was such a tiny room.
It was, and I remember them telling me, well, you can't really move. Well, Barney moved. I was like, I'm gonna do something.
Woohoo! You're
I was doing my little
gotta go. They were like, okay, but there's a light literally 2 millimeters above your head.
Wow.
And it was.
Man.
You can't really get it across to people how small that was, and it was robotic camera. I mean, you guys were controlling remote control cameras.
Yeah.
It was literally you, Chica, and I'm still not exactly sure how you did get Barney in there, but you did.
I know. Another gig that I remember doing with you was in a zoo in Long Island. On
Wow.
Long Island, we say on Long Island, right? How do you say it? On Long Island?
Yeah, I think it is on Long Island. Yes.
Long Island.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a zoo, and it was my first time seeing the way that you and Dean were so fluid together. And you know, he like stood in the back and just kind of held like a book or a paper or something in his microphone and was just like talking to kids. And you know, you would just how it was so, you guys were so good at being like, and now here's the kid I'm talking to, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. And then there was like a big song and dance number, and I think I introduced you. I think I was basically your warm-up act.
That's exactly what it was.
But then we all sang the Sprout birthday song together. But I think for sure they were like, just gather a crowd so that when, and it's like, as soon as Barney comes out of wherever Barney comes out, a crowd comes to Barney. A crowd comes.
Those were so much fun. Because, you know, I had done a lot of those sing-alongs, but it was just Barney, which was amazing. But to have the interaction.
Oh, yeah.
And you all, I mean, Sprout was going and going, getting bigger, and it was just, it was so cool. Everyone knew who you guys were, everyone knew who you were. And it was so much fun.
Yeah, and we would do I mean, there were so many mall tours that we did together. Like just going to these different cities around America and going to the mall for like a thing where kids could come and do a fun little weather report and get to take home their own video or get emailed their own video of this, of doing that with Barney. And and for sure at that point, like you were changing in a tent. In a tent in front of like an Annie Ann's pretzel factory. Like you were like the Gap. It was like a Barney right outside of the Gap going into a tent and transforming.
It's funny because that's kind of how I got started. I did mall tours when I first.
Oh, that's right.
With JCPenney's, and that's exactly what would happen. They'd have to put me in a store that wasn't, they were trying to get a tenant in there.
That's
and they'd say, Barney, me back. And they would throw me in there and throw some water, and then boom, I'd go back. So going back and doing those was crazy. I mean, because you're doing the show every day. And Sprout, you guys did a lot of interaction, but actually getting out with the fans, isn't that a cool thing?
It is a really cool thing, because so much of it was me picturing them at home, talking to the camera like, hey, you're here with us. We're having this fun thing based on the theme of the week, It'd be like, what's your favorite color? My favorite color is red. If you haven't told us what your favorite color is, write in. Let us know. We'd love to share your picture. Maybe you're even wearing your favorite color. I don't know. We can't wait to hear from you. Like that sort of like, but then to actually be out there with kids and to be like, what's your favorite color on the count of 3? And hearing people shout it, or actually having them come up and like sit and get to meet Chica and be like starstruck. And it would kind of be, I would see it as my role to like help them understand it's okay. Like, this is Chica. Do you want to tickle her beak? Give her a little tickle there. It really was rewarding, because kids are so much more aware of what's going on, and to see, they don't hide their brain working. Like, I feel like all of us are told we have to know everything all the time, and so we're always constantly like pretending what we know what we're doing. But a kid, you get to see them go, I don't know what this is, and then work it, and then get a little more comfortable, and then be like, oh, okay, now I can have fun because I understand what's happening. It's just so amazing. There's like, the learning process is nothing to be ashamed of for kids. It's really cool to see those steps happen.
Well, and they'll say anything.
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah, that is true.
I know.
For better or for worse.
I know, but that's what makes it so special. I know you feel the same way with me, that it changed my life forever.
Oh, yeah.
In such a positive way. Was trying to go one path in the entertainment world, ended up in kids entertainment, and it's the greatest thing that could ever happen to me.
Yep, absolutely.
It's amazing. I knew talking to you that we were just going to go running. I knew that, but I do want to start before we get into more of this. I was ready. I knew I was coming out of a cannon here with you. We were going to take off.
Wow.
But I do want to know how you got into all this, because I don't really know that part. How you got into the entertainment, acting, and you're writing and producing and all these things, which I want to talk about. But how did you get into entertainment?
So I always did like school plays and stuff and local little community theater. And so I had very supportive parents in that way, driving me to rehearsals and stuff like that. And then in college, I did the college plays at my little liberal arts college in the middle of Ohio. And that's where I really found teachers who latched on to not just like my drive and my desire to do this, but like encouraged my talent as a thing to like not be afraid of. Before that, I remember so much of kind of like, this is fun, this is cool. Not from my parents, but from like society and like the guidance counselor at my school going, but people don't really do that for a career.
Wow.
But then in college, after I played Helena on Midsummer Night's Dream, I had a professor go, you could do this. And it was like the first time someone was like, but you're smart. You shouldn't be telling me I should do this. And you don't love me. You're not my parents. You shouldn't be supporting a stupid move like wanting to go into entertainment. They're like, nah, you can do it. So when I graduated, I actually moved out near Philadelphia because I was too scared to move to New York or LA because I was a country girl from Ohio. So yeah, I moved to Philly and started doing commercials, and I did storytelling in historic Philadelphia, and I wore a corset and did cross stitch in public, and then the casting directors got to know me through commercial work, and when the Sprout gig came around, it was in Philadelphia because it was a Comcast network, and that was where Comcast was located. So they brought me into audition, and because I had also started doing a bunch of improv comedy, and this was going to be a live show that really served me well. In the audition, my belt fell off, and I just cracked a joke about it and kept going, and that is what booked me the job, because I just kept going, and they knew no matter what happens on this live show, we know she'll be okay. So that's how I got started.
I love that, and you know we had Forrest on.
Yes.
Who I just absolutely love, and he talked about the improv. He had some improv as well, and I don't. The experience of getting to watch what you all did on Sunny Side Up, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, and I can see how that improv is so important. Barney and Friends is recorded. If I fell or messed up, but what was going on your show with so much and being live was amazing.
Yeah, it was the only national live show for preschoolers. I don't know if there is another one. I mean, there's kind of this like wave of 24-hour preschool networks that now have kind of all morphed into other things. But yeah, it really was one of a kind in what it was. The fact that and I don't think it was a wise choice, but we had preschoolers call in to talk live a couple times for special events, live on air. We're having a kid go on and on and on to us about the Chipmunks movie, which was A, not part of our network, B, probably all sorts of like we weren't supposed to be talking about the Chipmunks movie on air, but this kid like wouldn't stop. Or like we couldn't understand a kid at all. Like why were we having them call in live? But yeah, it for sure in some smart ways and in some not so smart ways. It was a show that had never been done before, and I don't think will ever be done again.
Well, and I'm glad bringing that up. It's really interesting how people understand, and I've been in some of those situations. You still have to show that you care. You can't blow off a kid. You have to find a way. You have to find a way to move on from that conversation, but show them that you care and that you're interested. Because I mean, you could really, you could. Kelly's the one that made me cry because she didn't care about my son. That's really an art to handling a situation like that.
Yeah, and to be able to like redirect it in a sense too. So like, if a kid's going, yeah, and my grandma and I went to go see the Chipmunks movie, and it's so good. Alvin is a chipmunk. To be able to go, oh, you went with your grandma. Well, what do you and your grandma like to read books together? Do you like to play outside with your grandma and have to try to redirect it?
Wow.
Because there are then all these rules. Well, there's the whole idea of host selling that I think people are really they aren't expecting to be a thing. So like when it's children's stuff, if I'm going to talk about the Chipmunks movie, that's me host selling, which is not legal to do in children's entertainment. That means like because kids have a hard time understanding until a certain age of development. You know this. I'm just saying this, but like
no, this is good.
Other people don't. Okay.
Yeah, I love this.
Is that there's they have a hard time differentiating between what is entertainment and what is a commercial, what is advertisement.
Yeah.
And so you have to, when you are children's entertainment, have bumpers that basically show welcome back to the show. That's why our show, which was just interstitials, would always go we'll be right back to the Sunny Side Up show, Sunny Side Up, Sunny Side Up, Sunny Side Up show. And then when we came back, it's like, and welcome back to the Sunny Side Up show. Even though we're just this little bumper, we needed to let them know commercials are done, and now you're in entertainment territory. We're not going to try to sell you anything. So then as soon as there is something that they could buy that ends up in our segment, it's host selling.
Wow.
It's a commercial.
It's fascinating because, if you think about, let's say, sports talk radio, I mean, someone will call in to ask something, and if they mess up or whatever, they'll hang up on you. Can't hang up on a kid.
You can't.
Yeah, exactly. Continue on.
Can't do that, and you can't tell them they're wrong, and you can't tell. I mean,
no.
Such an art to that. So when you're auditioning for a show like that, it's so much more than that.
It is so much more than that, Carrie, because it's not. There is this sweet spot between. I'll tell you what's on the outside of the sweet spots because that's what's more clear to define. One, talking down to kids. Hi guys, how are you today? I think it's sunny outside. Like, I mean, okay, that's a style and it does pretty well, but as soon as a kid gets even remotely understanding how people naturally communicate to each other, they hate that.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that one part which I never wanted to do, and when I was auditioning, the casting director who she passed not long after that. Actually, she was an assistant casting director there, and she was just lovely. And she pulled me aside because she knew me from auditioning in commercials, and she just said, Kelly, everybody else is going in there and talking to kids like they're stupid. Just talk like you're talking to a friend. She pulled me aside to tell me that. She knew what wasn't going over well. And so that's what I did, and it's absolutely true. So many people talk to kids like you need to be a human cartoon instead of just a human, treating them like a human. So that's one side you don't want to treat them like they're idiots. But then the other side is that sarcasm isn't a thing that kids have to learn sarcasm. It's not built into them. And so if you're being sarcastic, it's confusing to them because they don't know what is real yet. They're constantly learning what is actually reality. And so if you crack a joke that could actually confuse them as to what reality is, A, they don't get it, and B, they don't trust you then. It's you're breaking the rules of all these things I'm learning. So there is funny things to say that you can say that hit the adults that are watching to make co-viewing more enjoyable. But that sweet spot is genuine, real delight. And that whenever I fell into that groove, which was quite a bit, I feel like I was pretty good at it. It just you got to just play.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's funny you talk about me running around Times Square. It's because the kids came to see Barney, and Barney, that's what he would do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's not tired. He's not. I learned that very quickly. The responsibility.
Yeah, and then when I came up with this whole "Get away! You have a thing" joke from Barney. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, the same motion I was doing and think about it is madness. I don't know. But anyway, let's continue on.
Of this, because kids get an attachment different, right? That's their friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's the friend Barney. That's my friend Kelly that I see every day, and she plays with me.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to the zoo and they see you live, there's Kelly. Hey, I got to tell you about this. I'm doing this or this or this. It's a complete, you know.
Yeah. And
Barney,
they don't understand. They don't understand if they have to sit in. I know Zoom, right? The delay. I'm sorry.
Right.
If they don't understand that they have to wait in line. Like when we would do the mall tours, there'd be a line, and kids would just be like, "Oh, I'm hungry and I'm tired. My friend's right there. What's going on?" And I remember you and I before breaks or whenever we could, and I wasn't in this 8 billion pound sweat box like you were, but we'd like go out and be like, "Hi guys, we'll be right back. Thank you so much for waiting. Oh, you're being so patient. We'll be right back. Can't wait to talk to you." And that would just kind of give them a little more of like okay, my friend sees me. My friend knows I'm here.
Wow.
Right, because you can't explain that. Well, he's hot and I'm hot and we're tired, and you can't do that. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, Barney never gets hot.
Nope. No, and did I learn that lesson quick.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, did you ever have to work out while you were doing Barney? Because to see you take that stuff off and never complain ever, but to like, okay, yeah, I'm coming out. Like you, like it. I mean, that was a workout.
Mm-hmm.
It was a workout. It was a workout. I've kind of told this story a little bit before, Kelly. You'll laugh. I'll make it short. When I did the touring, we did, it was like a Broadway show. So I was doing an hour-and-a-half show every day and then 2 shows on the weekend.
Wow.
And my buddy and I were getting ready. We were training for a marathon. He was the tour manager, and he said, will you do it? And I said, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we went over to the UK for 3 months, and he was running every day, and he's like, "You're not joining me." I'm like, "I'm gonna be fine. Trust me, I'm gonna be fine." And he's like, "You're not running. You're not running." So we got done, and we made a little wager. He goes, "I know you, and I know how stubborn you are, and I know you'll finish. So I'm going to bet you can't finish it under 4 hours." And I said, "All right." And he's like, "I knew I was in trouble when you agreed that quickly." So we went to Houston. We went and did it, and there were 6 other friends, so there were 7 of us doing it, and I beat everyone and ran it under 3.5 hours. And I only actually ran twice to train for it because that wonderful purple dinosaur kept me in such great shape.
Yeah, and it's not wearing weights.
Hold on. What is that?
Kept me in such great shape.
Yeah.
Continue on. Post-credit scene.
And it's not wearing weights on your ankles and your wrists like you see runners do, but you have so much more than that.
Yeah, but as you know, when you see those kids and you see those faces, and you know what I know, which is they probably woke up their parents at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, jeez. Another post-credit scene. Come on. Continue on.
And Barney, and they were going to the zoo, and they were so excited, and then they waited for us to come out, and
Yeah. The other thing I loved about working with you was also just the dinners that we would go to, the conversation. I mean, it was a blast. It was just so easy to work with you and so much fun because, suits came off, pigtails came out, and it was just people hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely love that too. And, I got to tell you, Kelly, it's part of why I'm doing this show because I loved those conversations.
Yeah.
I loved learning, I'm learning again from you and all the different things and the way that other people did it. But the one thing we have in common is how much we loved it and the passion for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you agreed to be on the show, Sunny Side Up, did you know what you were getting into? When you were going to be on Sunny Side Up, did you realize all the things that were coming, or did you just I booked a job? Because I was excited to book a job, really, to be honest with you, when I first got with Barney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was excited to have a job.
I think it was, yes, excited to have a job, but also I was one of the first 2 hosts. They didn't even hire a third host yet. because what they did, is they would have 3, and then we would cycle through 3 weeks, and we ended up bringing on a 4th host when we went to weekends. So one person would be on weekends. It was just so that we could always be live, and there would be backup if needed and whatnot. But when I first got hired, it was only me and Kevin. Kevin had already been doing a birthday show for them. And so it was just me and Kevin. There wasn't a show, so no, I didn't. I was excited for a job, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into at all because we created what the show was. And as we went along, we figured it out.
And was Chica with you at the beginning?
Yes, Chica was with me, but I was hired a month before the first episode because we were rehearsing and figuring out our wardrobes, and the puppeteers who were also producers like Forrest were figuring out what Chica's voice was going to be. Like, they ordered all these different squeaker and whistles. They needed the ability to have Chica be played by different people, by multiple people. So they needed her to have a uniform voice that anyone could do. So we, just in the office, were, putting things in their mouth, and they were like, "Wee-wee," or one was just a regular kazoo, and then they landed on this little white squeaker.
Yeah.
And because we're talking about myself, the dyno sync that we have, but you obviously had to have the sync.
Oh yeah,
had you ever worked with a puppet before? A puppeteer?
With the historic Philadelphia storytelling, at one point I worked with a goose, a goose puppet. So for fun and kicks and giggles, but never professionally or on TV or anything. And it definitely wasn't. I think I'm just a person who's curious, and so anything that I'm doing, I dump my whole self into. And in that situation, I was like, well, I guess I'm into puppets now. Puppets too. I ended up playing and voicing Patty the Pig on the block of interstitials for the afternoon in Sprouts. Was the Sprout sharing show, and there were these little felt hands.
Yeah. Which is good. I haven't seen the Sherry part, but in the Spontaneous Show stories, fun fact. Continue on.
And puppets, and I ended up puppeteering and voicing a lot of characters for that. What was the question? I don't even remember.
Yeah, well, it was working with the puppeteers, and it was the sync of working with.
Oh yes, thank you. So people would often go. Anyway, I got to the point. First, it was just the squeaker with Chica, and it was just syllables. Do 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 do. So it was our own birthday song.
Right.
And then it quickly morphed into the puppeteers figured that they could make a few little, syllables and yips and especially Forrest brought her to life, and Chica could talk, and for sure I understood everything that bird said. It got to the point where there was nothing Chica could say that I didn't actually understand what she was saying. It's like those parents who have a toddler who's like, "Baba Googa," and they're like, "You want a popsicle? And then you want to go outside and play? Okay." And the kid's like, "Thank you for understanding me." That's what it was with Chica. And adults, every time would come up in line with their kids, and we would be out having an event, and they would be like, "Can I tell you, I think I'm crazy because I actually understand the bird." And I would be like, "If you're crazy, then I am insane."
Another post-credit scene, the and the thing. Continue on.
You do understand the bird. I understand the bird. The bird talks. It was fun.
So funny. Did it? So I guess at the beginning it was kind of planned what Chica was going to say, but then it just get to the point where you're having a conversation.
Oh yeah. Well, we had to build in because Chica didn't use actual words. Even after I could fully understand everything she said, it was still a hybrid of just squeaks and occasional syllables. There were enough syllables in a word that it really is the word. Consonants especially were good for her. So, when we had to build in a way, my language with her had to be that I repeated what she said while answering her. So, if Chica would go, let's say we're talking about doctors. We would have a week about doctors. And what's the doctor who works on your teeth? Chica might go, especially if it was Forrest, would would probably go, oh, doctor, that's a dentist. Oh, I don't like dentists. Or, like, dentists can scare me. And I would go, oh, Chica, there's no reason to be afraid of dentists. Like, right? I couldn't just go, oh, really? Why? Because maybe people at home didn't understand her squeaks of being afraid. So I would have to build that in. And, that was so much fun to just be able to make it just a fluid conversation. Knowing what she meant, conveying what she said to the audience at home while not making it seem like I'm just repeating her. Because the other thing that wouldn't have been good entertainment would have been like, what? You said you're afraid of the dentist? Why are you afraid of the dentist? Instead of just going, oh, there's no reason to be afraid of the dentist. They help keep your teeth shiny and clean.
Yeah, like in Herbie the Dentist. About Chris is already over. Continue on.
See, I love that because I had to learn things like that too.
Really?
Well, when I would go into they start taking me everywhere. They could see that I could go upstairs and stuff. So they take me everywhere, and so I had to learn how to see what was in a room, so that I didn't run into something. Because someone can't take Barney's. Why is someone holding Barney's hand? Because Barney's real, right? But I got to make sure I don't walk into a lamp or something of that nature. And so I figured out how to go into rooms. And I would kind of do a turn so I could check the ceiling and make sure. So you learn that, right? So that you can be as real as possible. And it's the same. It's exactly what you're talking about. You've got to have a real conversation with the bird.
Yeah. The puppeteers, it's their job to make her look alive, and it's my job to help continue the reality of her being alive even further.
Yeah.
But when did they tell you that the studio was going to be an office?
Well,
I don't think people understand it was an office.
Guys, it was an office space, like a normal office. It was, honestly, maybe what? It was like maybe 10 feet less. Maybe like 8 by 6 feet maybe, or something. It's insane. 8 feet wide, 6 feet deep. It was so small. And we originally had started at WHYY, which is the local Philadelphia NPR station. And it's radio, but then they also had like a TV room. And we were in there while the building that our studio was going to be in was being finished. So we had 3 months to kind of figure out, okay, this is our set, this is how much space we need. That basically, we always were too efficient, Carrie. We were always too efficient and too good at what we did as this small little team of early 20-something people going, you want me to jump? Okay, how high? And I'll do it twice as high and I'll twice as fast. Like, we're just all so happy to be doing this. This is so cool. A new show. We get to be part of it. And so they basically were like, great. Oh, wonderful. We can do this. You can be there and you need absolutely nothing more. So that's why it ended up being, they were like, well, all we need is this space because you've proven you can operate in this tiny little space.
Man.
Yeah, it's so funny because they tried to kind of tell us, hey, so when you go up there, it's in the office. We're not thinking it's actually in an office. Like, I'm thinking it's a studio within the,
in office space.
Right, yeah. And so they kind of tell us,
Right, yeah. Exactly. Continue on.
when I say when you go up there, you're not going to be able to move much. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be able, So we get up there, and I think we met you all, and, I remember having bagels and talked to everyone a little bit before. And they're like, okay, let's show you. And I'm like...
Wait, what was that?
And I'm like...
That face Carrie made? Continue on.
Do you remember the other studio space that you had to walk past to get there that was actually like wall, an actual studio space? And you guys walked by that and you were like, so like, why aren't you in there?
Yeah, I thought...
Yeah. Like that. Continue on.
Oh, they're just going to show us this other... Like, I never really thought you all were serious until Dean and I kind of looked and went, oh, this is it.
Yeah. So Dean had to be in. Oh no, Dean did stand in the room sometimes, but also he had the ability to be in the control room.
Right.
But I think he stood in the room, like literally squeezed in the corner, right behind one of the robotic cameras. There was nowhere else for him to stand, and he would just with the lav mic that he just held like this.
Yeah, and I was watching it just blown away. Because like when the mail would come, there was
the mail was operated by the Cheekateer underneath pulling a string, and he would lower in, we would take it, he would lower up, and he was just like, here's the top of frame, he was just right here, just waiting to just
I gotta tell you, because when we would do the episode, I'm watching everything, obviously, as I'm performing, but I'm watching all of it. It's just fascinating. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm not even believing this is all happening. Because, you know, when Barney was first started, it was a studio a little bit bigger than the one you're talking about, and it was a split set. So one set was the playground, one set was the classroom, and the cameras would be in the other that wasn't being used.
Right.
Then when Barney got bigger, then they got this massive studio. And then when I was doing it, and when I came to see you, we had 3 studios with these huge sets.
Wow.
So then I come to this, and I'm thinking, how in the world are they doing this?
What are these poor, sad little kids? What is this sad little situation?
Well, and you're rotating hosts, and you're rotating puppeteers, and you're writing, and you guys were
Oh yeah, we had to write it. We had to pitch the ideas. We really, which I think is part of what it led so naturally to me now doing producing and writing on my own, or in this next phase of my life, is we truly did that every week. So the schedule went for one host. The schedule went. I would start on a Monday. We would spend a week preparing, writing, coming up with ideas for this theme. The theme is things that go. Okay, so let's think of what are the things that go? What are all the shows that are going to be on? What are the episodes of those shows? What can I grab from those episodes that I can then reference to make it feel even more live, to let kids know, hey, so Barney and Friends, like I would request, I had seen every show on our network multiple times, so I knew if I could plan ahead and go, okay, so the next theme I'm going to be working on is Things That Go. I know there's this episode with Barney where they talk about trains. I'm going to request that episode. I would look up what the episode number is, from what season. I would say, can I have this episode? And they would be able to program it if I gave them enough time. So I loved even putting that extra work in. I don't know that anyone else did that. It probably wasn't worth it to do. But I am a person that really likes tying up all my bows and loose ends. And if there's an episode of Barney in which he talks about trains, why wouldn't I want that in my Thing That Goes week theme? Right. Except for it is more work. It is more work. I definitely made more work for myself. But gosh, I don't know. But it was cool.
Yeah.
So then the schedule. I was talking about schedule.
Right,
Harry, I am the worst at remembering what I'm talking about. So the schedule was, we had to have a week of planning, and that included like pitching it to experts. Sorry, there's a plane going by. Pitching it to our curriculum consultant, the standards and practices team, to basically be like, yeah, you can or cannot say that to kids.
Right.
And then the director and producer, and then the next week is when I would do it live on air, and then the week after that was a week off out of the office, or that's when I would go do mall tours or try to work on my own stuff. I trained for a marathon, things, whatever.
You had no idea about the purple training, the purple suit training method for.
I didn't. Well, let me tell you, I would have done better.
Yeah, that post-credit scene. Continue on.
Better in the marathon. Gosh, can you imagine if I had called up, hey, Kara, so
Okay, I never want those post-credit scenes.
I'm gonna be running a marathon. Hi, Barney.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, here we go again. Repeat that again.
Training method for.
I didn't. Well, let me tell you, I would have done better in the marathon. Gosh, can you imagine if I had called up, hey, Kara, so I'm gonna be running a marathon. Hi, Barney.
I hear you've got this.
Continue on. I don't care.
Running out the
Fail proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, this fail proof. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, I remember when we did the episode that we did have kids call in to Barney.
Yes.
If I recall.
We did, yeah. It was I don't remember. I mean, I know we did it Christmas mornings, but did you ever come on a Christmas morning?
I know I came for Thanksgiving.
Oh, Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving we had kids call in.
We had Thanksgiving, and we did it several times. And I remember, thinking, I'm actually have the easiest part here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dean and you, who knows what the kids are going to say. And in this case, I actually got it pretty easy here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There was one kid.
And the two of you could kind of play off of each other.
Yes. Oh, I love playing with Dean because Dean's so funny, and also like he so wonderfully toes that line of like, here's a little one for the adults, here's a little one for the parents, but never sacrificing the genuine, joyful, time with the kids in order to give a nod to the parents.
Still.
And I remember one kid while you guys were there, because I remember having Barney right here. Your presence is memorable. So I remember Barney, right here.
Because I was seven something.
Yeah.
In the college. Barney's 7'2", 7'6", something like that.
Yeah. And a kid calls in, and we asked him, who are you spending Thanksgiving with? I think that was our question. Or who are you thankful for? Oh, it was, who are you thankful for? And the kid calls and goes, I'm thankful for the turkey and for my Shirley and for, I don't know who his Shirley is. I'm guessing maybe Grandma Shirley or something. But for my Shirley. And Barney was like, oh, can you please tell Shirley I said hi? Like, he latched onto my Shirley. And he just thought it was the funniest thing. And so Barney just all of a sudden is like, oh, Shirley, you're with Shirley. Because this kid just loved his Shirley.
I don't think people realize how fast you all how quick you have to think.
Oh yeah. One step ahead. I actually, when I first started, kind of went through a weird. I don't really talk about this because I don't even. I went through a phase where I was so overly intentional about what I was saying, even right now as I'm like trying to choose my words. But that was all the time because it hadn't yet, A, we were super new, so I felt this huge pressure on myself. B, they had recently had a big scandal with one of their other hosts that got fired.
Wow.
And so I didn't want to be a scandal.
Right.
I didn't want to ever say anything wrong, so I really wanted to put thought behind everything I said. And on the show, you talk slow enough that you're able to think about what you're saying, and you've at least planned out enough that you know the beats of what you're going to get to, and now we're going to go to the next show. And then I would be able to look at my notes and figure it out. But in my real life, I ended up having a hard time not thinking so carefully about everything I said. So like I would even be out to dinner with friends and couldn't just like relax and talk. Everything I talked about and everything I said, I was kind of paralyzed by this needing to filter it. And it wasn't, I honestly, that was probably a couple years of feeling almost personally silenced because I cared so much to never accidentally say the wrong thing on air.
It's interesting. I wouldn't tell anyone about Barney. That's what I did. Dean and I didn't. We kept that very quiet for a long time. And the only reason I'm doing, two reasons. I wanted to tell people stories, but I also saw how it mattered to people. These still matter to people. The fact that, Kelly, you cared about it so much matters to people, right? You didn't do this just for a paycheck. You did this because you loved it. You see all that stuff. So I kind of understand what you're saying because, I don't know, there's something about it. There's such a responsibility to it sometimes.
Yes, I felt the responsibility so heavily. And that can be hard to separate because it is also being a public figure,
Yeah.
if you do something in your own private life that would then taint the good work that you are doing, I would never want to do that. Like, I cared so much that when I looked into the camera and I told kids, like, you are special, treat others in a special way, and let's make
Exactly.
this world a better place, that there was nothing about my life that they could find out that would destroy or weaken that message. I mean, I was in my mid-20s, like, I was living, but like
Sure.
not in a way that was gonna destroy stuff.
Sure. Well, same thing. I was in my 20s when I started doing
Yeah.
this, and you don't realize that. Like I said, I was so excited to have a job,
Yeah.
and I kept, can you do this? Sure. Can you dance? Sure. And then you start realizing, all of a sudden, when you do a Make-A-Wish, like I did,
Oh, jeez.
and all of a sudden you see it's life or death. And
Wow.
going to hospitals and you see all the things and you see how important it is.
Wow. I never did a Make-A-Wish.
Oh goodness. Yeah, they used to come.
I did go to Ronald McDonald House once.
But it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You see what you do means really means something to them.
My husband had a Barney stuffed animal that like was one of his favorites growing up, and my mother-in-law recently brought down like a tub of like, get this stuff out of my house. Here's now it's your responsibility type stuff. And inside is this Barney stuffed animal, and it looks so good. I would get it right now, but it's my daughter's asleep and it's in there. And I tell you what, my daughter has not yet seen, we're gonna start introducing TV soon, has not yet seen an episode of Barney. And there's something about Barney in that stuffed animal is her favorite. She doesn't, she just loves Barney. I can't wait to show it to her, because then it's all of a sudden gonna be like, wait, this becomes that.
I love that. Well, that was such a tricky thing, as you can imagine. That they're so used to the little one, and then you start jumping, and you don't. My God, a 7-foot dinosaur that is doing bell kicks.
Oh my gosh! Oh, the number of bell kicks you did. I don't remember kids being afraid of you like they so often are to big, scary things, or big puppet, life-size versions of what they know.
I think we talk about it. It's the authenticity. Whether you're Big Purple Dinosaur, or you're working with Chica. I mean, it's exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Not
there
that
were kids that,
fakeness.
yeah, there were kids that needed to like figure out, or were in awe. Needed to figure out, okay, wait, what is going on? What am I able to do here? But yeah, I don't remember kids being like, like they do with Santa.
Oh, I know. No, I know. Well, I had Santa on this show not too long ago. I had Charles Hall, who's played Santa for 30 years.
Oh,
Wow.
And
Which I react to back in January or whatever. Continue on.
It's fascinating. So what all have you been doing since?
So since
I know you've been doing a lot.
Yeah, so I started making a bunch of my own content, specifically on my Facebook page at Kelly Vroman Comedy on Facebook, and that's been really fun, and also as a way for me to just kind of like go, okay, well, I'm not full-time in the realm of children's entertainment. How do I make this crossover to being apart from Sprout? Who am I apart from Sprout in the
Right.
setup show? So
How long were you with Sprout?
7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Which you're like, that's nothing. But
It's a lot.
yeah, but it is a lot, and a lot having it be live all the time, all year long. So it was 7 years.
Well, and that's a lot to have a transition of a new.
Oh, sure, yeah, and a new city. When I ended there, I immediately moved to LA, so it was a lot. But I got into some really cool improv shows out here. Started auditioning. Started doing more and more writing. Right now, I'm doing commercials. Last year, I had a really cool year professionally, and then I got to do 3 like major network acting gigs. I was on Blackish and Grey's Anatomy, and shot a pilot for Nickelodeon.
Wow.
And
Just 3 little, small little things.
you know, 3 little things. And yeah, I've been doing a bunch of like live hosting and stuff for corporate places when they need it, and that's fun because it takes the fun like safety of someone who did like I'm safe enough for children, but take the children away, and I can still say safe enough for like business people, but also like get them to have a good time. So it kind of was this really like natural transition for me to be able to do corporate gigs too, which is a blast. I mean, yeah, it's not what people are like, oh, I want to do corporate gigs. But it's so much fun. Like, why? If you're having fun doing a thing, just do the thing. But yeah, I produced a couple things for Peacock Kids, a couple web series. I'm working on a new one now that I sold them this idea and they really liked it. So working on that now, and that'll come out on their YouTube channel and online.
Well, which he's done well. Peacock is doing well.
Yeah, Peacock is doing really well. So it's fun to still be in the family.
Is it? Did you get to a point where you need to explore other areas where you've been, what you were doing for so long, and you're like, I want to try and write now, or I want to do something, or I want to, that you get locked in so much?
Very much so. So the scripts that I have written really have more explored, because it's also a script, so it's not me putting my face out there having, it's not me saying a swear word. It's a character I'm writing saying a swear word. So I think one of the ways that I've like kind of sown my wild oats is by writing characters who are sowing their wild oats.
Oh man.
It's a very safe, removed way to do it. Yeah, so I've written a couple shows that are right now in front of some people, and we're shopping some things around. For sure. Like, there was this time where, and it doesn't take away from how much I loved doing kids stuff and still love to continue to do that, but there is a time where you just kind of need to clear your head and wipe your feet off and clean your hands of and just step back and be like, what do I want to do? And so definitely writing, and I've done a couple short films that were very rewarding and did super well on the festival circuit that are not kid friendly.
Well, doesn't it creatively you almost hit a wall a little bit? Don't you feel like you need to?
Yes, you need to break down the parameters you had to set for yourself. You have to set parameters for yourself in order to do kid stuff. You really do, because it's so hard to do well that if you're trying to do anything and everything while also trying to do kid stuff, I mean then you're not going to do it as well. So yeah, I for sure creatively hit a bunch of roadblocks and just had to knock them down. I didn't start doing kid stuff again until last year when I did the first web series for Peacock Kids. I just couldn't. I needed to step away for a bit.
And so when you're doing something like that, I'm kind of fascinated. You've got this one thing that you did for so long, and how do you start that process? How do you start this process of doing something for kids, but doing something different than what you did for so long? I mean, how do you clean your head and start anew?
So for this, now with Peacock Kids, so the first little web series that I produced, and I've produced it fully in my backyard, in my little studio that I built. It's called the Teensy Tiny DIY Show. And if you watch that, the little girl host, she's 11, the little girl host, I basically forced her to have my sense of humor.
Wow.
I was just like, great, now can you say it this way? And it's just me. But I think because it's for kids a little bit older, it's 6 to 12 instead of 2 to 3, 2 to 5. I was able to infuse a lot more of that humor that I think was the one thing that I missed getting to do Sprout, is that for kids that young, you have to prioritize education and emotion more than, snarky doesn't play. Snarky does play if you're 9.
Right.
And you can be a little wilder and like have some sass. And
Yeah.
so it was much more free. I got to play a little bit more, and being behind the camera and writing it
Wow.
and getting to like manipulate it, it was just getting to make more of the decisions that I wanted to see happen. Whereas when you're the actor, you're so often the lowest on the totem pole. And people think, oh, acting is so cool. It's like, you're the last layer. Like, you don't get to make any of the decisions down here, really. I mean, fortunately we did, because we got to create the content, but there was always somebody telling us whether we were allowed to or not. So just being able to take some of the control back into my own hands and go, I know how to create fun stuff for kids. Now I'm going to do it and not have someone else telling me little nitpicky decisions.
Right.
I mean, there was a representative from the studio who's awesome to work with. Unfortunately, she just was like, go for it. The notes she gave me were always very minimal, because she was like, you got this.
It's so fascinating you say that, because, and I don't think people understand it. I went through the same thing, right?
Yeah.
We've got an executive producer. We have a producer for the show that week. We have a director. We have a choreographer. There's a team of every aspect of that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, after doing it all the years that I did get more freedom.
Yes.
Originally, when you originally got, like when I did Radio Steady back in '94.
Oh, right.
There was not much freedom. It was pretty much, you're going to do this and this and that. And so you earn it, right? You earn that they understand you, all those things. So I can just imagine, I'm smiling listening to you, because to have that freedom had been wonderful.
It felt so good. Ugh. Yeah.
Wow.
It really just feels to be like, here's what I want this to look like. Here's what I want this to sound like. Here's what I want this. And I was working with my writing partner, Erin Brown Thomas, who we so naturally flow and work together. And when you have the ability to just kind of make more of your own choices, you can choose who you want to work with day in and day out. You can choose who you sit and go back and forth about whether or not this is going to be red or purple. Like,
wow.
You can, it makes all the difference who you're working with. And if you are in charge, you get to choose who those people are. That being said, I would have worked with Forrest until the day I died. I told you Forrest sang and played guitar at my wedding.
Which I didn't know that, and it doesn't surprise me, and I love it. I love Forrest. So
One of my favorite people.
He is.
One of the most creative, naturally funny people in the whole world.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, he has such a passion for what he does, and such a love for what he does, and it goes in everything he does.
Yeah, it does. I remember, and again, you and Dean having like your dino speak, like I remember one of the many times that we had meals together, and it comes to the end and we're all like, one more drink, everyone, and we're sitting around and just like being humans around each other. But it would be so funny, because Dean, as the night went on, would get like more raucous and he's also very funny and would be funny, and would get to the point, and you would get like, I'm sure you're thinking like, okay, so tomorrow I know I'm gonna be tired, I need to do this thing, I've got to do this. Wow. And you would sit and you would look at him and just like, like, I would love making eye contact with you at that point, where you would be like, this is so great, I love my life, and also I should probably go to bed. Like,
Man.
You always had this like responsibility underneath there, going like, tomorrow I do have to dance for hours and hours.
Man.
Yeah, it's such an interesting. You would laugh, because Dean and I back in Dallas, we'd go dinners and go have drinks and things.
Yeah.
If anyone heard the conversations we had,
yeah.
Because we actually talked about a lot of this stuff too. By the way, hey, so we should come up with a new jump with this. And I was thinking, we're sitting in a bar right now. If anyone knew the conversation we were having right now, they would not believe it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I bet you guys did that stuff too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, wouldn't it be cool if Chica and we did something?
Yeah, sitting in a bar and talking about Yeah, it was wild. There was one time, I mean, it's always weird being out in public or whatever, but I love cheap wine. And I was at the liquor store and I was like, oh, they're having a deal. And if I get like 24 bottles, I can like, it's like way discount. Okay, well, whatever. I mean, I'll take forever to drink it. I'm like buying all this wine and it's like cheap crap wine. The whole thing was like not a lot of money for a lot of wine. And I'm going up and I bring it concurrent and I'm getting my purse out and the guy goes, "Are you Kelly from the Sunny Side Up show?" And I was like, "Oh no,
Man.
not while I'm buying. While I'm by myself buying 24 bottles of wine. Please don't recognize me."
And then a post-credit scene. Continue on.
So there was always that side of things too.
See, we were lucky because
You were lucky.
never,
you guys
never, never got recognized. Never had to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially in Philadelphia because it was such a saturated place where Sprout just was in every home. If we were at a bar talking about Chica stuff, definitely someone overheard and would always come over and be like, are you Kelly from the Sunny Side Up?
We never had that. We could be sitting in the corner. People go, "Those two guys are crazy."
Look at those weirdos doing this.
Yeah. I'm notorious for doing stuff like that. I'm absolutely notorious for doing jumps and things like that.
Yeah, that should be another post-credit scene. Continue on.
And he would laugh. Well, you know, Dean started with me on when I started doing Barney and Friends. So we worked together for 12 years. He was on Radio Disney for all those years.
That's right.
And so that's kind of where he was able to, think on his feet. But he also has two girls. And they loved Barney. And so that was always in his heart. And so he just had such a great balance of being able to go all those different places.
And the number of times that you guys would film a private message or that he would hop on the phone to leave a birthday message to someone as Barney, anytime. I mean, never saw you guys have to turn anybody down for that sort of thing. It was always like, oh, there's a kid here that wants to meet Barney. Bring him on in. I can go 2 more seconds.
It was one of my favorite things because he was exactly that way. So
Yeah.
He knew. He was like, oh, Gary's going to keep going, so I'm going to keep going because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing about children's entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I cannot thank you enough. I'm like, it feels like I just saw you yesterday.
It does. Oh, that's good. Well, I'm so thankful to get to come be a part of this. I think the podcast is great, and the people who loved Barney and who were parents of people who loved Barney are all better because of Barney. Like the messaging of Barney truly taught people that they are loved.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy thing because I obviously go around telling everyone I love them. And it's so funny, back in the early days, people thought you were crazy. You can't tell someone you love. Like, you can't go hug someone. Like, what? What do you want? I don't want anything. I love you, And now we need it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And the things you were doing. I mean, the things with Sprout and how do you realize how many people you affected?
I don't think I do yet. I mean, so I started the youngest, I would say, okay, so the oldest person was probably born in 2002. So like we're now getting to the point where like they're 18, maybe are like the oldest people that really watch the show. And no, I don't think I do yet because until you're older than that, now they're all just like cool teens that are far too cool for me. Carrie, I just don't want to end up on one of those shows that's like, where are they now?
Man.
Well, I'm glad you came on this one because this is not where are they now. I was dying to hear these stories and I was dying to talk to you again. And
Good. Congrats on your engagement.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh my God, he's engaged? Hey God, congrats, Carrie! Oh my God, continue on.
If you want Forrest to play guitar, he's really good.
Well, now I feel like I need to call him up.
He's the same about it.
I need that to happen. I need that to happen. Well, you're gonna laugh. All my friends from the show, Jeff Ayers, who played Baby Bop for all these years, he's like, oh my God, I got to be part of this. And so my fiance is trying to get used to the fact that Baby Bop and BJ all these people.
Sorry.
I'm like, it's gonna be a little different crowd than but it's gonna be good. Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you as well. You've got a child and you're married. Since I've seen you last.
Yeah. All fairly recently, in the past two years, got married, had a baby.
And now you're creating shows in your backyard.
Sure am.
Well, don't stop what you're doing, and it's
Thanks.
so good to see you.
Thank you. So good to see you. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching Purple Roads. Remember to keep your eyes, ears, and your heart open, and you'll find your Purple Road. We'll see you next week.
So that was Purple Roads, episode number 59. What do I think about this episode? Oh my God. The ending looks fantastic. He was engaged to his fiance? Congratulations. Man, that was so fantastic to Carrie. And plus, Kelly has been born to her own daughter. Well, I'm gonna say it right now, this is amazing to that happening, and plus, have her on Sunny Side Up show with Forrest around as a puppeteer, hunky squeaky voice, going Chica voice, amazing stuff right there. Anyways, guys, that was LJ Reacts episode number 592. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one, which is gonna be LJ Reacts episode 60. It's gonna be Purple Rose episode 60, a tribute to Phyllis Churio, who played Stella the Storyteller. Until next time, Sue Joseph, goodbye, peace out, baby. We can watch reacts, you guys, very soon. Till then, Joseph out. See ya.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I failed to really understand it, I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening, but I tried all the time. I ask, why me? Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception is the question and the giver holds the key, but the only worth I've ever found was in melody. I still try.
No. Yeah.
They probably woke up their parents at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Baba Googa. Can I tell you, I think I'm crazy because I actually understand the bird. And I would be like, if you're crazy, then I am insane. You do understand the bird. I understand the bird. The bird talks. Like it was fun. Space.
Right, yeah. Let's show you. And I'm like,
So like, why aren't you in there?
yeah, I thought. For
I didn't.
marathons.
Well, let me tell you, I would have done better in the marathon. Gosh, can you imagine if I had called up, hey, Care, so I'm going to be running a marathon. Can I borrow Barney?
Yeah, I hear you've got this, this training method.
Fail proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, this fail proof. And a kid calls in and we asked him, you know, who are you spending Thanksgiving with? I think that was our question. Or who are you thankful for? Oh, it was who are you thankful for? And the kid calls and goes, I'm thankful for the turkey and for my Shirley and for, I don't know who his Shirley is. I'm guessing maybe Grandma Shirley or something, but for my Shirley. And Barney was like, oh, can you please tell Shirley I said hi? Like he'd latched onto my Shirley. And he just thought it was the funniest thing. And so Barney just all of a sudden is like, oh, Shirley, you're with Shirley. And I'm going up and I bring it and I'm getting my purse out and a guy goes, are you Kelly from the Sunny Side Up show? And I was like, oh no, not while I'm while I'm by myself buying 24 bottles of wine. Please don't recognize me. So there was always that side of things too. Look at those weirdos doing this.
Yeah.